From unkind relatives and school bullies,
Oh, my father will hear about this. Is that a threat?
to lifelike tyrants and major antagonists,
Things at Hogwarts are far worse than I feared.
check out our list of the most despicable villains from the Harry Potter saga. Number 10, Draco Malfoy. He's a favorite bad boy for millions of Harry Potter fans, and you're probably one of them, aren't you? But even with all his charm, you could never consider Draco a nice guy. From his very first appearance, Malfoy showed how prejudiced he was.
You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort.
He was so convinced of his superiority because he came from a rich, pure-blooded family. Everyone else was just trash and mudbloods for the guy. And do you remember how good he felt being part of Umbridge's inquisitorial squad in Order of the Phoenix? Only by the end of the series did we discover that Draco wasn't completely evil. He was terrified at the thought of killing Dumbledore.
Don't you understand? I have to do this.
And fans believed that most of the things Malfoy had done were affected by his parents' values. So the real villain in that family was... Number 9, Lucius Malfoy. This man is far crueler and more snobbish than his son. His evil nature reached a whole new level when Lucius slipped Riddle's diary to Ginny Weasley in the Chamber of Secrets. He knew what he was doing and that if he succeeded, the girl would be dead, just like many other people. And Lucius couldn't care less. Besides, Malfoy never stopped hating the Weasleys and other families he considered inferior.
What's the use in being a disgrace to the name of wizard?
However, his snobbery mostly disappeared after the battle in the Department of Mysteries. That's when everyone saw Malfoy's true nature, and he even got into Azkaban for some time. As he came out of the prison, Lucius was reduced to a shadow of himself. He turned out to be a coward who followed Voldemort only because of his thirst for power. However, not all Harry Potter villains were followers of the Dark Lord, or even wizards. Number 8, the Dursleys. This family showed that evil can find a home under the Muggles' roof, too. They made Harry's life a living hell as he was growing up in their house.
There's no such thing as magic.
Before he found out that he was a wizard, the boy didn't have a proper room. And even after he was accepted to Hogwarts, they wouldn't get kinder to him. Constant abuse and bullying, bars on his windows. Do we need to go on? It's no wonder that Harry always dreaded the end of the school year. He never wanted to get back to their house. And when he met Sirius and thought he'd finally have a proper family, okay, let's not talk about it because we don't want any more tears. So back to the Dursleys. Thankfully, Dudley got kinder to Harry after their encounter with Dementors in Order of the Phoenix.
I don't think you're a waste of space.
They even briefly kept in touch in adulthood, at least during the holidays. So we hope Dudley grew into a better man than his father. Now let's talk about... Number 7, Severus Snape. Okay, we know you'll say that he wasn't actually a villain. We all remember that the potions professor worked for Dumbledore this whole time, and Snape risked his life repeatedly for a good cause. But let's not forget that he still bullied Harry during all his years at Hogwarts. And that's not because he wanted to pretend to be evil. Snape really hated the boy because of how much he reminded him of James Potter, the person he loathed the most. Sure, Severus had a reason, as Harry's father also was less than kind to him. However, it wasn't a good idea to take it all out on his son. In the movies, Snape was shown as more or less nice, if you can even use this word for him. Yet in the books, he was a full-fledged bully who constantly used his professor status to humiliate not only Harry, but also other students. Snape somehow missed out on Potter's resemblance to his one and only love, Lily. At least the boy inherited her kind heart. It seems that he noticed it in Harry's eyes only at the very end.
You have your mother's eyes.
So yeah, Snape still was a villain. But Harry managed to forgive him, and so did most of the fans. Yet we can never find an excuse for the next baddie. Number 6, Fenrir Greyback. We didn't see much of him in the movies. However, this werewolf had a major impact on the entire series. It was he who infected Remus Lupin, wounded Bill Weasley, and killed Lavender Brown. What made Greyback even more evil was his inclination to attack little children. Fenrir did it as he planned to take over the world with an army of werewolves one day. Thankfully, his intentions didn't come true. The werewolf was defeated in the Battle of Hogwarts and was likely imprisoned for life in Azkaban. The next villain also spent some time in the wizarding prison. Number 5, Barty Crouch Jr. He was one of the few men responsible for the return of Lord Voldemort, and we've got to admit that he was quite a smart person. Infiltrating Hogwarts under the guise of Mad-Eye Moody, Crouch even managed to fool Dumbledore himself. He also manipulated the Triwizard Tournament to ensure Harry wins and gets into Voldemort's hands. Crouch had always been completely loyal to the Dark Lord. He stopped at nothing in the name of his service to the Master. Barty even killed his own father because Crouch Sr. recognized him at Hogwarts and could ruin their whole plan. He was also one of the Death Eaters who tortured Neville's parents into insanity after Voldemort was defeated for the first time. He had quite an unforgettable company in that hideous act, but we'll get back to it later. Now we'll discuss number 4, Peter Pettigrew. His evil deeds affected the entire story in a huge way. If Wormtail hadn't betrayed his friends, James and Lily Potter could have been alive. As if this horrible act wasn't enough, Pettigrew faked his own death and framed his other friend. Because of him, Sirius spent 12 years in Azkaban, and meanwhile Pettigrew lived under the guise of a rat in the Weasleys family. Indeed, the reveal that Ron's pet Scabbers was secretly a Death Eater was one of the most shocking plot twists. That's when Peter's life could have ended, if it wasn't for Harry. The young Potter wanted him to face justice instead of dying at the hands of Lupin and Sirius.
Bless you, boy. Bless you.
But we all remember what happened next and how the traitor escaped. If it weren't for Pettigrew, Voldemort would probably never rise again. Harry later blamed himself for saving his life. Yet in the end, this debt stopped Peter from killing him and Ron. If you read the books, you remember how he got choked by his own arm. The next villain was far less cowardly and even more loyal to her master. Number 3, Bellatrix Lestrange. Few Harry Potter characters are as unsettling as this woman. Her allegiance to Voldemort was unparalleled, reaching the point of devotion. As we know, she even gave birth to his child. Bellatrix was a pure sadist, taking pleasure in killing and torturing others.
Go to go!
And when it came to those she deemed inferior, she loathed them with her whole heart. Her role in some of the most painful deaths made Bellatrix even more hated among Harry Potter fans. She killed Sirius, Dobby, and Tonks, and attempted at Ginny and Molly Weasley. Besides, she tortured Hermione and Neville, and destroyed the homes of Hagrid and the Weasleys. Yeah, that's a lot. In a certain way, this woman could be even more dangerous than Voldemort. Bella never had a plan for her actions. She was a chaotic force of nature, and we've got to admit that she was creepy as hell.
Itchy, baby. Potter.
But the next villain felt even worse for many fans. Number 2, Dolores Umbridge. Although she wasn't a Death Eater, Senior Undersecretary to the Minister for Magic is as hated as Voldemort, if not more. The thing is, her villainous tendencies were much more realistic. Umbridge wasn't a dark wizard using his magical powers to make others follow his will. She was a despotic woman who quickly turned from a professor into a tyrannic headmaster. Being corrupt, brutal, and manipulative, Dolores personified everything you don't want from someone in power. She wouldn't stop at anything, using the Veritaserum potion and even torture to get the information she needed. Let's not forget that her detention literally left a mark on Harry for the rest of his life.
I want you to write, I must not tell lies.
And although Umbridge wasn't Voldemort's servant, she was ready to work for the Muggle-born Registration Commission. In this position, she was happy to prosecute Muggle-born witches and wizards for allegedly stealing magic.
Wands only choose witches, and you are not a witch. But I am.
Indeed, Umbridge did many unspeakable things in the saga, but it still doesn't make her the main villain. Number 1, Lord Voldemort. Who else could be number 1 but you know who, right? The Dark Lord was the main antagonist of the series from the very beginning when he killed Harry's parents, until the very end, when he was finally defeated by the boy who lived. Almost every year during his time at Hogwarts, Harry risked his life fighting Voldemort in whatever form.
Harry Potter.
The Dark Lord embodied the evil qualities of every person on this list. He was precise and relentless. He could kill anyone who stood in his way, even a seemingly helpless little child. Moreover, he felt no love or sympathy for anything or anyone but himself.
But only I can live forever.
And there's no doubt that Voldemort is one of the most famous villains of all time, not only in the Harry Potter saga, but in literature and cinema overall. Do you agree with our ranking? And whom would you add to the list? Share in the comments below and check out our other Harry Potter videos.